such a perfect piece of music to honor Betsy's life. There's that little surprise at the end. You know, it kind of starts to wind down and you think, and then it kind of jolted awake again. And it's just perfect. It kind of captures Betsy's spirit. Good afternoon and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego. I am the Reverend Justine Sullivan. I use she and her pronouns. And I'm one of the ministers here, and it is my honor to welcome you here to celebrate the life and mourn the death of Betsy Stevens. Longtime member of this congregation, beloved mother, parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, congregant, friend, and mentor to those of us wise enough to receive her mentorship. Everyone should have a playlist of the music they want to have at their celebration of life. Betsy chose the music that we will share in today, and a lot of the readings and things. So she was really ahead of the curve. And it turns out Barbara Scheitker, who's the pianist today, is a longtime member of this community as well, but she spends most of her time playing music at the congregation in Santee. And when we asked her if she could play this afternoon for Betsy's celebration of life, she said, well, actually, Betsy asked me 20 years ago if I would play at her memorial. So she had it covered. And these chalice lighting words that I will share are ones that Betsy especially loved and that she saved. So is there someone in the family that would like to come up and light this, or shall I do it? Would you like to? Okay, I got it. I have the candle. Thank you. Come on up. All right, you were the first one up, so you get to hold it, and when you're ready, you just dip it into the candle. Perfect. You can just wait right there until I read these words. Perfect job. This is from Rebecca A. Edmiston Lang. Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place. And now let us rise in body or spirit and sing together our opening hymn, one of Betsy's favorites, Spirit of Life. The words will appear on the screen.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us today. We want to share, this family does, that along with this gathering of family and friends, we're joined via live streaming, both with those in Switzerland, Great Britain, Brazil, as well as in California, Colorado, Texas, where her sister resides, New Jersey, and elsewhere. A little bit about this poem, which is also in your order of service. Betsy was deeply grateful for so much in her life, and a very appreciative person, of family and friends, of work and its rewards, and of nature and its glories. She and Bob took us, her children, to see the splendors of fall in the mountains, snow at Mount Palomar, poke around in tide pools down at various shores, and walk through national parks. And she communicated to us, even as she's toting around 3 or 4 or 5 kids, that being in such beauty was a rare privilege. Much later in her life, she also adopted a poem by E.E. Cummings as sort of a mantra. She recited it every morning, facing the sun as close as she could get, but in any event, looking out at nature. Even in her final days in the hospital, she just wanted to be able to see clearly out into a rose garden next to her window. If you'd like to read along with me, please feel free to do so. It's in the order of service. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue, true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I, who have died, am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings, and of the gay, great, happy, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the no of all nothing, human, merely being, doubt, unimaginable, you. Now the ears of my ears are awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened.
Ooh, a good time to remind people to put your thank you for that prompt. A good time to remember to put your phones into worship mode. There is a beautiful ritual here that we engage in when someone dies. Betsy died on December 19th, a very busy time of year. And so it would take us a while to find a date when all the people that needed to be here could participate in her celebration of life. But soon after someone dies in this community, we honor them during a worship service by lighting a candle for them and then extinguishing our chalice in recognition that we are diminished by the loss of them. And yet, as we continue, the light of community continues, and we must, as people of faith, continue shining our light in this aching and beautiful world. And so from Betsy's candle, we relit our chalice, symbol of our gathered community. And as part of that ritual, the minister offers a few words about the beloved who has died. And I was speaking with Betsy's family after that Sunday that we extinguished the chalice for her, and one of Betsy's daughters said, "Oh, I so loved what you said about our mother." And I confess, I smiled a bit and prepared myself to hear what glimmer of Betsy's light I had captured or what turn of phrase seemed especially fitting. She went on. I love that you said we thought that she would live forever. That's just how we all felt. And I chuckled. How wonderful that that was the thing that hit home, and how wonderful that after almost 99 years, we were all left wanting more. More time, more wisdom, more Betsy. Maya Angelou writes, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is so much of what I have been learning of Betsy's legacy, how she made us feel. Welcome. So many people here have told me that Betsy was the first person to welcome them here, not just a polite, perfunctory hello, but a hello that was full of warmth and curiosity, a sincere wish to know you, cherished. She made us feel cherished. Her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren felt truly connected to Betsy, treasured their time together, would wish for more. Betsy spent her final days surrounded by family, and I truly believe that there was nothing important left unsaid. She loved you all, and she knew that you loved her. Smart and funny. She made us feel smart and funny. She laughed at our little quips and returned a few of her own, though usually in a very earnest way. One of the treasures that I received from her family to help me prepare for this day were pages from a journal that she kept during college. I guess this was an assignment or a recommendation, which for her I think was the same thing. A recommendation from a professor was an assignment that she keep this journal. And I was struck. Here she was at 18, 19, and she sounded just like herself. And yes, so earnest, both confident in her opinions about the world and her sense of herself, and also open to new ideas. Now, I will not share the juiciest bits, of course, but there is a first mention of Bob, whom she met during those years. And by the second mention, she writes that she thinks she is as in love with him as would be appropriate for that time in my life. Passion tempered by common sense. Discernment, wisdom, already fully developed at that tender age. In her later years, when she was part of the reproductive justice work here, one of the leaders of that group writes, when things got hot, Betsy would pull me aside and offer encouraging words that helped me continue. So many people have reached out to Betsy's family and to me to share their memories and their gratitude for Betsy. Folks also remember with great fondness Betsy's late husband, Bob, whom people just adored. And I did not know Bob, but it makes me so happy to know that Betsy had such a wonderful companion in her life. One couple from abroad writes, they were influential role models for living a kind, compassionate, and selfless way. Their friendship enriched our lives enormously. We are so grateful to have known them. Betsy was loyal. Friendships lasted decades, lifetimes even, but she was loyal not only to people, but also to institutions. She loved this congregation and our Unitarian Universalist faith. In 1944, while at college, she wrote that she was certain that Unitarianism was obviously the absolute best religion. And then later, she allowed that she had met some Presbyterians that were also okay in her book. And what made them okay was that they lived their values in the world, caring for other humans, caring for the earth, and all her living things. Betsy was a saver of things, and I don't know, perhaps she saved the odd bits and bobs that the family will be sifting through. But what came to me was this wonderful folder full of clippings and songs that should be played on this day, but articles that Betsy found worthy of cutting out of the newspaper, and readings from various worship services that she had attended. And as I say, in a way, she planned this celebration of life by writing down the music she would like played and sung on that day, and the words that she might like shared. One of the prayers that she wrote out in her own hand is this prayer from the Ojibwe people that I think speaks a lot of her theology and her understanding of the world. Grandfather, look at our brokenness. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided, and we are the ones who must come back together to walk in the sacred way. Grandfather, Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor that we may heal the earth and heal each other. That's how Betsy lived. That's what she strove to live in her life. Now, in the papers of a 98-year-old woman, I expected to find old treasures and maybe some old ideas. And except for her journal entries from college, 1944, 46, the years that Betsy saved, the things that Betsy saved included mention of the movement for racial justice, and an article from 2019 that she clipped from the LA Times about a study that found that cultures who revered animals also treated other humans with respect. Well into her 90s, she was still learning and growing and trying on new ideas. One of the things that I found in her papers was this prayer from UU minister Ellen Quadgrass. Accepting the invitation to change, really change our minds, our hearts, our world. When we encounter calls to defund the police, when we encounter calls for reparations, when we hear follow our lead from people of color, may we listen, may we learn, may we be open. Even if it means rethinking everything you thought you knew about the world. We have, all of us as humans, an enormous opportunity to change one of the oldest injustices in history, to change everything. May we stay vulnerable, may we stay tender, may we take action, eyes and hearts and minds open. I received testimonials from countless people from this community and beyond. One of Betsy's dear friends of many years and who is with us online today and certainly here in spirit, but could not make the cross-country trek from Maine to be here today, is Grace Lewis McLaren, one of Betsy's dearest friends, and I share this reflection from Grace. During the last years she lived in Rancho Bernardo, Betsy and I developed a friendship ritual. She would drive to the Del Lago bus terminal just off I-15 near the North County Mall and wait for me to show up on the bus. We'd greet each other with "Happy Tuesday." That was our usual day. Betsy would then drive to Felicita Park where we had our special spot. A bench beneath the ancient pin oak trees. Weekdays were usually quiet. Parking was no problem, only a few steps from the car to the bench. Interesting terrain in all directions. Occasionally, we'd even hear the water flowing in the creek below us. As winter approached, the acorn woodpeckers would be hyperactive. Sometimes a hiker would come by. Once in a while, a field trip of youngsters whose teachers would read the plaques to the kids before they hustled along the trail. Once we encountered a very professional dog walker with 7 dogs. They clearly thought she was God, and we concurred. Betsy and I brought our own lunches. Sometimes we shared memories, sometimes thoughts about what's happening in our world. But mostly we just enjoyed each other's company in the magic of this place, a place we called the Kumeyaay Kitchen. A large, flat granite rock in front of us held several metates, softball-sized holes pounded into the surface by the people who called this land home for generations. Ancestors in spirit, strong hands, arms, backs, pounding acorns or perhaps buckwheat. People who knew how to use the gifts of the earth and how to care for the land so those gifts would continue to be available long after their own days. How could a sacred place like this not put us in touch with our own lifetimes? So it goes. A couple of grandmas on a park bench, one gone on and dearly missed, one remembering with gratitude. Beloveds, may we hold Betsy and all those who loved her in our memories with compassion and care, and may we continue on the legacy that she left, simply to care for this earth and all her beings and all the living things that we are blessed to witness in their beauty. May it be so. Amen. And now we will hear from Betsy's son, Eric.
Hello, good afternoon, buenos dias, bonjour, and aloha. Thank you for being here with us all this afternoon. I'm Eric, Mom, Betsy's oldest kid. And as such, I thought I was able to safely say that I was the oldest person witnessing, knowing Mom for as long as anybody here. But I find out that we have some alumnus from Wilson College visiting with us today, and so I defer that honor to them. Also, of course, my dear Aunt Dora, who is with us also today. Mom, Betsy, was brought into this world by Paul and Ella on December 28, 1926, a cold day in Baltimore. Paul, a Swiss immigrant, recently arrived in America after graduating from Zurich Polytechnic with a degree in hydroelectric engineering. Ella, having arrived in the United States somewhat earlier with her father, after having followed her other Austrian family from Vienna, Austria, to Cincinnati, Ohio. Ella graduated from high school in the U.S., and at social gatherings, she met the man she would marry and raise a family. Early pictures show a very happy, smiling Ella holding a very large bundle of baby. Other sisters and a brother soon followed. Betsy and her sisters and brother grew up in a loving household. Paul ruled the roost, but Ella had her say too, especially in household manners. The times Betsy grew up in were not easy for a lot of Americans. There were many times during the period when a plate of food was left at the back of the door of the home for friends or neighbors who had no other way. You only had to know that one of Betsy's heroes growing up was Eleanor Roosevelt to know where her heart really lay and where it was heading. At the same time, in probably high school, that Betsy started her lifetime love of letter writing. Paul and Ella were both prolific letter writers. Their letters that I recall of their many moves in my early years were mostly informational, weather, general conditions, friends met, written for many copies or multiple addresses on carbon paper. Can you remember that? So Mom, Betsy, was exposed early to the personal joys of letter writing and receiving. Mom, Betsy's letter writer, though, reached a more personal level. She wanted to know about you. She wanted to be able to empathize with you, and she wanted to be on a more personal level about any worldly subjects that might interest you. I'm not aware of any letters that have arrived that are survived from Bob and Betsy's, courting relationship in premarital years. Given the circumstances of those years, Dad's deployments and Mom's post-college years traveling back to Switzerland, a lost gold mine. My first years with Mom were pretty much all about me, and then my sisters Carol, Judy, Patty, and Margaret. My first recollections of Mom as Betsy were after we moved to San Diego. Betsy made it a point to meet or know at least every family in the neighborhood. Quickly, the Frolicks, the Truesdales, the Kirks, the Hopkins, and other families came into our orbit. Relationships grew. Thanksgivings, beach parties, vacations spent together. When neighbors moved away, they were kept close by Betsy's communications, just as they had continued to the Stevenses and other East Coast relatives. Letter writing to friends everywhere was only stopped by their passing from us. Mom's pleasures throughout her long life are too long to list here. Just about everything interests her. Good or bad, she had an opinion. Her pleasures in later life: a mellow glass of red, a good book, a good conversation, and doting on our great-grandchildren and getting a letter. Thank you all very much.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Margaret. I'm Betsy's youngest, but just signing up for Medicare. This is the first place you can be where you're the youngest and you're 65 years old. But I wanted to mention I'm the youngest because Betsy was the oldest. And one never knows how birth order is going to affect one's life. But in Betsy's case, it seemed prophetic. She was the oldest of 4 children. Dora, her youngest sister, would describe her as their natural leader. She was the one who could figure anything out. She was our rock, Dora explained. She was always dependable. She always knew what to do. And there's a conversation that Dora had with Mom recently that has stayed with me because it captures Mom so perfectly. It started with a simple question. Dora asked Betsy if she had ever felt afraid. Mom responded that she had felt afraid once in her life. It was 1950. She and my dad had recently moved to Boston. Her family was living in Europe, and she had not made any friends yet in the area. My brother Eric had just been born, and my father, who was in the Marine Reserves, had just been called up for duty in light of the Korean War. She felt isolated and overwhelmed. I find this story remarkable because Mom says that she had felt afraid once in her life. To me, this speaks volumes about my mom. Most people think of fearlessness as an absence of nerves, but for Mom, fearlessness was a form of logic. If something needed to be done, you just did it. Most of us know Betsy as somebody who spoke her mind. Even as a university student, she was known for being remarkably direct about her opinions. She deeply loved Wilson College, but she made sure her voice was heard while a student there. It was the 1940s, and blatant racial discrimination was practiced, so Mom joined the NAACP. When she was elected class president, she met with the university president to advocate admitting Black students. The president dismissed the idea, claiming Black students didn't apply and they would not feel welcome at the university. When Mom suggested to the president that the school actively recruit them, the president insisted that as a prestigious university, they did not need to recruit scholars. Mom exclaimed to the president that she knew this wasn't true because she herself had been actively recruited. And I have to say that, like, this story just recently came out. I never knew this growing up. It's in these Zoom calls that we had recently that you're like, oh, Mom, tell us about this. She would never talk about this when we were growing up. To Mom, speaking truth to power wasn't necessarily about overcoming fear. It was just the reasoned approach to a problem. If a door was closed, she simply assumed it was stuck and needed a firm push. In 1963, my parents faced, in my opinion, a very fearful situation. They were raising us 5 kids solely on my father's teacher's salary. So my mom applied for a job at the National Marine Fisheries Service, and there's a couple of her colleagues here today. Thank you so much. So armed with her BS in chemistry, a rarity for women then, she entered a male-dominated workplace. The men with PhDs were at the top, and the women were given the technical jobs at the bottom. Slowly, women began to take on more roles, and in the early 1970s, Mom had the chance to go out to sea. Although the crew and the male scientists on board were prejudiced against the women, this was not something Betsy concerned herself with. She packed up her duffel bag, and Dad said you could hear the wine bottles clanking in it, and she made her way down the gangway. Although Mom never said it, these week-long voyages must have been a welcome respite from her usual routine of working 8 hours and then coming home to 5 kids for her second shift. But another thing about Mom is she never complained. For her, complaining was simply impractical. If she was the one responsible for the task, she saw no reason to grumble about it. Unless, of course, it was about politics, then she had a lot to grumble about there. In her final days, her fearlessness was ever present. When she was in the hospital and the doctor told her that the pneumonia was unsurvivable, my mom faced the news with her usual Betsiness. She quickly calculated that this was the end. She wasn't ready to die, but she did not waver. The first thing she said was how grateful she was for the life she lived. And then she told the doctor, well, my friends at Westmont are going to be so surprised because I'm kind of the poster child for a healthy 98-year-old. And while I focused on my mom's resolute spirit and her fearlessness, there's so many other parts I could share of her. I could speak of her devotion to her family, her deep loyalty to her friends. I could mention her strong affiliation with this church. I could talk about her commitment to making this country better, or I could reference her sharp intellect. I could go on, but I've realized it is absolutely impossible to sum up a life as full as hers. I cannot summarize my mother, but I carry memories of her that are beautiful and funny and profound, and I know all of you do too. She was definitely one of a kind.
Let us sing together again. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, and the words will appear on your screen.
Good afternoon. I really should have reconsidered going after Aunt Margaret, the teacher. But I really just want to take a minute to admire this view. This was her second home. You were right, I cried. So thank you all so much for making this place a place of joy, a place of strength, a place where my mom can still go and have more memories. I tried to do some math, but I don't teach math. So, on behalf of Betsy's 8 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren, and all of the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the second cousins, the third cousins once removed, that she would name all of them for you, thank you all for being a part of her life and enriching ours. Gigi comes from making an acronym out of great-grandma, and as my own children have reminded me, it's Gigi, not grandmama. So from here on out, she's Gigi. I think we can all agree that Gigi was the smartest woman we all ever met. She's probably smiling down on us right now, knowing that today is Pi Day, and tomorrow is the ever-present RBG's birthday. Pure coincidence for this woman, but I'm happy it's gonna make you smile. There are about 42 years worth of stories I could share with all of you today, so bear with me as I pare it down to a few minutes because we need to get to attitude adjustment hour. Betsy as a grandparent was a different experience for us than her children have shared. It was pretty cool as a kid to say that grandma was a chemist and bring in plankton and other fish jars for show and tell. It may have even been worth the cost of being in trouble when one accidentally broke in your closet. Walking the tide pools with her, whether it was just below her office at Scripps or over in Point Loma, was an adventure, usually ending up with one or more of us covered in seawater, but having learned so much about sea slugs, crabs, and sea anemone. Have you ever played trivia with Betsy? Let's just say you get to win whether you're on her team or not, because she would just answer all the questions, not knowing whose turn it was. That's probably why she loves her grandson-in-law so much, because it was always men versus women, and they still somehow won. I have to bring up at this point that none of the grandkids or the children or the in-laws, for any matter, could prove Betsy wrong. In our world, a Giesiger woman could never be wrong. And if you need proof, just ask any of the spouses. Gigi always had time for you. In person, she would sit with you, ask you questions about life or current events, or just simply be content in your presence, doing a Sudoku or reading this week's paper. One of those times, right after church, is actually how I learned where she was on December 7th, 1941, because she knew. She was on a trolley car in Baltimore. When you call her, God bless for caller ID, she'd automatically pick up, no matter what she was doing, and say, "Hi, Tom," and jump right into some random story she'd thought of. Or, just tell you about all the other grandkids in case you didn't know. Our Betsy was the ultimate feminist. She wasn't able to participate in recent women's marches, but back in the day, she took one of her nieces, Magon, to a reproductive rights march because nobody else would go. When the first women's marches started happening back in 2017, she was there in spirit. She would have come, but a little over 90, that's a lot of walking, and literally commented, though, on every single photo that I posted. We had a grandma who was willing to lie for us. When I was in 6th grade, I was desperate to get my second ear piercing. We got turned away at Claire's because we were honest and said, yeah, this is my grandma, not my guardian, but that would not stop Betsy. And you'd have to remember that she was the rule follower. Bob was the troublemaker. She was the rule follower. She was not deterred. We went to another Claire's, and right then and there, she's like, I'm her mom. Nobody messed with her. She also traveled with us. Back in 1999, minus one of us who wasn't born yet, all 7 grandkids got to spend a week with Bob and Betsy in Colorado to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Did you know she could play softball? 10 years later, we were all in Big Bear to celebrate 60. Cole made that one. Our grandmother never left room for doubt that she wasn't fully aware of everything going on in our lives. Whether it was an email, a card, or even a text, Betsy made sure to reach out to all of us often. She wanted updates on our jobs, what kids were learning in school, and what the spouses were working on around the house. And she remembered all of it. She'd even send emails to share with our kids after a game or seeing some post on a social media so that we could read to them what she thought. And you knew you made it in life when you'd walk into her house and see your social media photos printed out on her refrigerator. Who else can say that their 98-year-old grandmother was hip to social media? If you ask the littles the things that they think the most of when it comes to Gigi, It includes December advent calendars from Trader Joe's, which she ships to all. That was from Cora and Paige. Cheering them on at sporting events from Hudson and Tate. Her beautiful face from Rhett. Olivia believed in Gigi's caring and supportive spirit could make any day better. And like a true Stevens, Ava always knew Gigi could make things better with ice cream. She religiously ordered Ranger Ricks and highlights for what I can only assume are all 13 great-grandchildren. It's incredibly selfish, but it's definitely hard to say goodbye to Grandma. She was spry and alert until the very end. A month before she passed, she was sitting with Cora at a baseball game that's actually in one of the slides, discussing who knows what, but only you and your namesake get to be privy to. The week she passed, like Aunt Margaret said, when we all knew that this was our goodbye, she wasn't scared. She wasn't ready, but she wasn't scared. And while I can't speak to what she shared with each of us, she made a point to share something for our mission in life. So Grandma, I promise you, I'll keep making good citizens in and out of the classroom and get into more good trouble. I think I will close with one thing that I know she wants you all to do. It's a midterm election year. Be active, be involved, find a cause you're passionate about. I still think Aunt Judy's figuring out the organizations that are getting donations, or maybe that was you, Mom. I don't remember. That's what she would be doing right now, working for the League of Women Voters. So please, in her honor, be like Betsy, and better yet, just sleep with a copy of the Constitution under your pillow.
Out of my dreams and into your arms, I long to fly. I will come as evening comes to a waiting sky. Out of my dreams and into the hush of falling shadows, when the mist is low and stars are bright.
Please join me in a time of meditation or prayer. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of 1,000 names and of no name, dear God, we are grateful for the life of Betsy Stevens. Nearly 99 years on this earth, and still we are bereft and wishing for more. More of her smiles, more of her intent listening, her kind words, her inquisitive mind, her playful spirit. She made the world more beautiful, and she made our lives here more interesting and certainly more spirited. We release you, dear Betsy, from the cares of this earth and from the frailty of the human body. You were certain that you would be reunited with your beloved husband, Bob, and your daughter, Carol, and the many other beloveds who died before you. It is a comfort to imagine you there, sharing a laugh, a question, so much to catch up on. Because, dear Betsy, you never stopped growing and learning and caring about those around you. And you will be with us always as we carry on the work of caring for the world in your stead. Go in peace, dear one. As we extinguish our chalice, I offer these words from one of Betsy's favorite poets, Mary Oliver. Today I'm flying low and I'm not saying a word. I'm letting all the voodoos of ambition sleep. The world goes on as it must. The bees in the garden rumbling a little, the fish leaping, the gnats getting eaten, and so forth. But I'm taking the day off, quiet as a feather. I hardly move, though really I'm traveling a terrific distance. Stillness. One of the doors into the temple. In honor of Betsy, let us all make a wish for the future and then think of an action you can take to make that wish come true. And then after the family exits, let us gather in Bard Hall for what Betsy loved to refer to as the Attitude Adjustment Hour.